Hi, this is Kathy Murray with Tech Up for Women. We're here with a tech talk on a sunny Tuesday afternoon in New York City. And we're really excited about today because even though our target audience is primarily corporate women, this one is a special COVID special for entrepreneurs and small business owners. We have two women with us that lead the organizations at their corporations that provide these services. And I'll get to that introduction in a minute, but I want to say if you have any questions, to make certain that you put them in the chat box, because we will get to questions, and that this is being recorded for future viewing. You can see this Tech Talk and our past Tech Talks at our website, www.techupforwomen.com. So with that, I'm going to introduce Zoe Bogan, KPMG. We started talking to her last year. It brings so much energy. Just look at that smile. Siegel from Mastercard Small Business. And she also has a gorgeous smile. So I'm going to have each one of them spend 1 minute introducing themselves, and then we'll go back to each of them for them to spend a few minutes on the services that their firms offer to small business owners and entrepreneurs. And then we'll have some Q&A, and we'll open it up for some other Q&A and close it off in about 35, 40 minutes. So with that, I will start with Ginger to introduce yourself. Ginger, you're muted.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. This is Ginger Siegel. I'm really pleased to be here with you today and really excited to participate with Tech Up for Women. I have the pleasure and honor of leading the small business segment for North America at Mastercard. I've been there 3 years. And prior to that was at Deloitte. And prior to that, most of my career was on the financial institution side. So really pleased to be here.
Great. And Zoe?
Hello, everyone. I'm equally excited to be here. My name is Zoe Bogan. I'm with KPMG. Been with KPMG for about 10 years. Currently with the Corporate Development Department, which is responsible for the firm's internal mergers and acquisitions. However, I am really starting to work more with small businesses. So I have a lot of experience and some really interesting tips and tricks for you all. And I'll also highlight a little bit later how you constantly, it's good to reinvent yourself within a corporation. I'll share some of my tools there.
So what's so exciting is that in the whole thing of women entrepreneurs and small business owners, we've heard lots and lots of rah, women should do this and women should do that. But both Mastercard and KPMG are putting their actions where their words are in providing these services. When we had our practice a few days ago, it was, we just got to move the needle. We can't keep saying these are the stats. So with that, you want to start, Ginger, with the Mastercard programs for small business owners? Unmute.
I think, Kathy, you said it best. Small business is still small business, whether it's prior to COVID, during COVID, or after COVID. And at Mastercard, we've been very focused, even before COVID, to bring solutions to the table to really help small businesses meet their needs. And I would say the best way to describe it is Mastercard has a needs-based, customer-centric approach. We've done extensive research into what small businesses need and what their pain points are. And what we have found is that even during COVID, these needs have not changed. Needs like time management, operational efficiency, being enabled with technology, access to capital, these things have not changed, and we don't believe they will change. And so Mastercard's approach has been to take these needs and look at solutions to help fulfill those. So as a really good example, safety and security is a very critical concern for small businesses. Many small businesses don't realize it, but cyber attacks are happening more with small businesses than some of the larger corporations. And a very scary stat, Kathy, is that 60% of small businesses that experience a cyber attack go out of business. And the main reason for this is that because small businesses don't have a lot of resources, they tend to have to take their eye off the ball. And so what Mastercard has done, instead of, to your point, just looking at the stat, we have put together a package of cyber tools, one of which is called Risk Recon. And what that does is it will actually go into a small business and analyze where the vulnerabilities are in their systems. And then we also have something called ID theft protection that will monitor the dark web for either personal or business information. What we're very, very excited and what we've recently announced is that these two very critical tools will be free through the end of the year for small businesses, regardless of whether they have a Mastercard or other network. And so, Kathy, that's one example where we've taken a look at the need, taken a look at the stats, and then built a solution on top of that.
I will say that Dawn and I, when we heard about that as a small business owners of Tech Up for Women, we're like, okay, we're going to write you, call you.
I'll get you set up. I'll get you set up.
So Zoe, do you want to describe what you're putting in place at KPMG?
Sure. We took a similar approach and really wanted to hone in on what is it, right? So, you know, kind of women have issues with, or sometimes challenging times, getting access to funding. So capital funding is one area that we focused on. Another key area, we purchased a small bookkeeping business about a year ago. So we have this great product, KPMG Spark. Low cost, you have a dedicated KPMG team. But here's what I say, control what you can control. So you looked at a lot of the small business owners. Some missed out because they were not able to get those PPP loans because their finances weren't in order, the taxes weren't in shape. As women entrepreneurs, it is challenging enough. Control what you can control. This is a great product to really hone in on a lot. It's also equally great for women who are looking for investors. And here's what I mean by that. So the tool actually has a feature where you can give investors access so they'll see your revenue information, but not your whole information. That makes it very interesting and easy when you have discussions with investors. So again, small bookkeeping is one, capital funding really kind of focused on that. HR transformation, do you have the right team in place? If you're looking to scale up and you don't have an HR director, you don't have the right team in place, your business may not be as sustainable as you think, and then tax incentives. But the most important thing is that when we kind of like look at your business, we're looking at you. You know, one product doesn't fit all. A product is really great, but understand that we are honing on you. We're focused on you. We care about you. We want to see you succeed. So again, I'm happy to be here and definitely reach out.
So it's almost as if you could set up a deal room.
Absolutely.
A good old corporate deal room. So can you also maybe spend a minute on Women Corporate Directors, which has been an ongoing program at KPMG?
Yep, absolutely. So the Women Corporate Directors is an amazing program focused on women on public and private boards. It is a global organization that is really helping or working to kind of advance board leadership among women. As we look at women entrepreneurs, we look at women on boards, kind of like similar issues. So it's a great organization, phenomenal networking opportunities, phenomenal education for those involved. There is a definite membership. There's a criteria. If you are interested, let me know. But the goal also here is not only to support women entrepreneurs, but through this organization, support more women on boards.
Great. So one thing during this last 3 months is a lot of small business owners, entrepreneurs, startups have had to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Could each of you spend a minute just discussing that and how you've supported that? Ginger, unmute. Unmute, Ginger.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've seen is that pivoting is very critical. And I recently wrote an article, kind of the 5 Ps of running a business during this time, and pivot is one of them. One example of that, Kathy, is that only 60% of small businesses have a digital online presence, which means that 40% do not. And even the 60% that do may not have all the pieces to drive their business with this differing business model. And so we are very focused on helping businesses to get online, but there's a lot of pieces to that. We want to help businesses get online through some of our partnerships that we're going to be announcing soon. These partnerships will allow businesses to set up a storefront. We then will wrap over that our cybersecurity. As you go online, as you have a greater digital presence, it's obvious that you are going to have greater potential for cyber attacks. The other piece is that we know a lot of small businesses are going to need training in social media measurement, graphic design, marketing, and so we're going to be providing a virtual training program for them as well. And then the last piece, which is very important, particularly from accepting payments, is that many businesses are not enabled to accept contactless payments. As you know, the acceptance of checks and cash kind of verboten right now. And so the ability for small businesses to be able to have a card on file for a consumer, and also to be able to literally have a situation where someone can just tap their credit card and pay is going to be very critical in this new normal. And so we think that this whole concept of pivoting your business model is going to be very, very critical.
Oh, that's a really good point, because my husband does my books from my business, McMorran Strategist. And it took him a good few days to set me up on PayPal rather than so.
Exactly.
Right.
For small business owners like us. Zoe, you've been pivoting because you were going to have a in-person event during this summer, fall.
I was. So you know what, this season is all about the pivot, not only for small businesses, but us in life. So pivoting is really good. So honestly, I'm working with a lot of small businesses and connecting with them virtually, as Ginger mentioned. So reaching out to kind of highlight what it is to have your books in order and what that looks like, and a customized discussion, really honing in terms of, okay, if you're looking to kind of raise capital in the next year, what do you kind of need to do now, and have those in-person discussions. I'll give you a very interesting example. So there was one small business owner, and as an example, just raw example, he was a makeup artist. The makeup artist used to go to individuals' homes. Well, now you're not able to do that through social distancing. She does it virtually. So she gives you tips and tricks in terms of how to do that virtually. That's extremely simplistic, but you kind of see how people are starting to pivot and assess certain things. Another key thing that Ginger highlighted was that virtual footprint is extremely important. So one communication may not do it. You need several. Several is going to kind of increase your exposure and increase your client conversion. So we're having a lot of those discussions with a lot of these small business owners. Again, this is the season of the pivot, and so we're guiding them through that.
So here comes a question from actually someone I know. She's a small business owner. She's been, well, for quite a number of years, she's way past the startup, but Sherry Sklar is asking, how about options in terms of capital funding? If you have a small business, at this point in time, would you do debt, equity? Would you do angel rounds? How would you suggest that small business owners fund their need for growth right now? I guess this is a good question because it wasn't what would you do for survival, it's what would you do for growth.
Yep. Yeah, well, I'll take a quick stab, and then Zoe, please jump on. I mean, I think that when you think about credit today, there's obviously a lot of different approaches. There's, even something as simple as credit cards. There.
You just,
Yeah, yes, I'm having technical difficulties, but angel investing, lines of credit, credit cards, and quite frankly, to be honest with you, PPP loans that you may use today for your payroll and then divert some of your other funds into areas like growth. So I think there's actually a lot of ways in terms of credit, but what I do want to say is I want to applaud that approach, because so many small businesses that I speak to are really getting mired in COVID. And they're very, very focused on it, which I understand. But this idea of normalization and then pivoting to growth is very essential. And people should not be waiting until after COVID, but now is the time to do it. And Zoe, I'm sure you have some thoughts there from a working capital perspective.
No, absolutely. So listen, each business is different, right? So I would want to kind of like go in a little bit deeper to kind of understand what the company is, what the goal of the company is, because you can kind of, if you think about your money, get investment dollars, but how much of your equity do you want to give away? And then what does that look like for you? Are you interested in capital raise, or are you interested in partnership? Another key thing, and again, happy to have really in-depth conversations following this, but one thing that I want all women to know and that they highlight is that women don't ask for enough. So whatever figure you were thinking about asking for, double it, and then come and we can kind of like work on the rest. But happy to speak. It's a very intricate conversation. I want to be really clear about your goals of your business, where you want to go, how we can help the right investment, because it's a relationship. You can't just kind of like engage with every investor. So be very clear about that, and make sure you asking for not just to kind of like bootstrap it, but to thrive. Be clear about what that number is.
And Kathy, one comment that Zoe made, I do want to land on. When you take a look at all the venture funding that happens today, only 2.2% go to women entrepreneurs. And so we know that, and that's the thing, venture funding is not going to be for everyone, even under the best of circumstances, but we certainly know that for females, it's a harder row.
Yep, absolutely.
As you all know, I coach a lot of my angel investing. I coach a lot of small business owners, and women will often come in and say, "Oh, I need $100,000," and we don't see anything as angels unless they're asking for 700 million, 2 million. So I think underestimating what the burn rate is in order to grow is key.
Absolutely.
I don't want to run out of time to have you share just a minute about your career paths, because they're both fascinating. The Tech Up for Women's, well, our basic premise is everybody has to know about tech in order to advance their career. And pivoting your career is key, as Zoe alluded to earlier. So, we'll go with Zoe. Dog barking right now.
Okay. Well, as I said, I've been with KPMG for about 10 years, and I heard a very interesting quote, cannot remember the author, but it's a great quote. And they said, successful people can hear the grass growing. And I really like that, because if you pay attention, you understand which direction you should kind of go into, the type of help you need, and kind of like what you like. And so I use that kind of like as a motto in my career. So I've been with the firm for about 10 years. Started off in tax, went over to an HR function in corporate development now, really enjoyed it. But I have always been passionate about D&I and D&I initiatives, and really wanted to make an impact in terms of whatever I was doing in those areas. So this is a natural progression for me, but it happened from me kind of like processing where I wanted to go, me speaking up, because a lot of times people are not going to hand it to you. You kind of have to speak up and say, you know what do I really want? And then be very clear about how people can support you. You know, sometimes in life, people will say, all right, well, what do you want? How can I help you? And they'll say, here. You're like, here, really? Yes, here. And then you just start to meet kind of really interesting people. So a career path, like they say, is a jungle gym. It's not a straight line. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Pay attention to kind of like how things are processing, you know, like have faith and others will help you. And I will help you. So reach out to me.
Yep. No, I think that's great, Zoe. And you know, Kathy, I also believe in pivoting personally. So I actually started my career working for a pharmaceutical company. So my job was to call on doctors and teach them about different drugs. And I got that job pretty soon out of college. But pretty soon, one day I got a call from an executive recruiter that said that a major financial institution wanted to start a healthcare division. And instead of hiring a banker and teaching them healthcare, they wanted to hire someone from the healthcare industry and teach them banking. Now, to be honest with the entire audience, I didn't even balance my own checkbook. So the idea of going into banking was a bit unnerving, but I did. It ended up being Citigroup, at the time the largest bank in the world, and I ended up running all of small business for Citigroup for the US. The second time I pivoted in my career was an opportunity to go from banking into consulting. And I think you really have to keep your eye open to the things you've done, because I realized in my banking career, what I did all day was consult with small business owners and with my team. And leading a team is consulting. And so the switch over to consulting, and I not just any consulting firm, but I went to work with Deloitte, one of the big four. And I realized that you can pivot, and you have to have belief that all of the experiences that you've had in the past are relevant, even if you don't necessarily see the relevance right away. So I actually took 2 chances in my career and made 2 big leaps into different areas, and ended up with a technology company like Mastercard without formal technology training. So I think, again, Zoe, to your point, it's really believing in yourself, but also expecting the unknown and believing that the unknown is safe.
Absolutely agreed.
I want to remind the audience that they can put any questions in the chat box, but I'm going to keep asking. So for Tech Up for Women is primarily corporate, and that we're talking to a lot of corporate women who are mid-level and above. And we do have our 9-10% entrepreneurs. But if you were in a corporation, what would you suggest they do to either support their entrepreneurial friends, their friends with side gigs? How can they work within their corporations to make certain that other women are succeeding as entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, Kathy, that I have had an enormous opportunity to mentor very fantastic young women. I think that it's really easy for all of us to say we support women, but I really believe it's the boots on the ground. So what are you doing every day? Are you reaching out to the younger women in your team or beyond your team and being there to guide them? Because it is not easy in any corporation today. And it's not easy being a man, and it's certainly not easy being a woman. And I think we have to contribute to the solution and not the problem. So it's activity, not talk. I think that's one of the really, really important things. And then in terms of helping entrepreneurship, it's things like this, right? I work for Mastercard, and when we get outreach from organizations like Tech Up for Women, we make the time. We have to make the time, because the work you're doing is amazing and critical, and we have to participate in helping women within our roles and also external to our roles. And I think that's really important. So I think, it's not just put your money where your mouth is, but put your actions where your mouth is.
I absolutely agree. So I serve on the Leadership Council for our Women's Network, and we put together a few events a year. So one event that we put on was really cool. It was Learn to Sell, Serve, and Soar. And what it highlighted was that for women, You control your revenue, you control your destiny, because people are not going to question money, but you have to kind of be comfortable in terms of how you are closing deals and how you're going after clients. So what we do for a lot of our events is we put a number of women from our firm on different councils. So it does a number of things. One, it gives them leadership skills if they don't already have it in their practices. It gives them the ability to kind of speak up. It gives them the ability to think strategically, gets access to leadership and new people and new thought. And I also like to pay attention to the language of women. Like, I'll ask them, what committee do you want to be on? And they say, you know what? Well, you know, whatever committee you need assistance with. And stop doing that. Ask for what you want. Let me tell you, you know, that I say, make your mistakes here. Get comfortable with the language here. But from a starting base, ask for what you want. So I really love engaging with women just to kind of highlight that, inspire that. I love when they come to me and say, I've been promoted. You know, we celebrate them. And then I also tell them, ask me for something. Ask me for something. Get comfortable asking for something. There's nothing wrong, you know, for asking for something. So again, and then for entrepreneurs, I tell them KPMG Spark is a great product, right? Get your money right. Control what you can control from a starting base, and we'll kind of work out the rest. But I'm all for supporting you know, women entrepreneurs. With the number of women entrepreneurs on the rise, you know, the funding, kind of like how Ginger mentioned, it's just not there. You have to move that needle. So all about that type of support.
You and Kathy, one more thing that made that I thought of based on what Zoe said. A lot of this is leading by example. If you're sitting in a meeting and there's a lot of younger women in the meeting or people that are just coming up the corporate ladder, it's important that we lead by example, that it's okay to express your opinions. It is okay to be assertive. All of the traits that oftentimes women are told are not, don't look good on them. I think it's important to exhibit those traits and show how those traits can actually drive success and not stop success.
Agreed.
That's good. There two questions. One is, we have a lot of young people in our audience, and they want to know if you could give an example of a mentor, sponsor, male ally who made a difference in your career.
Sure, I can go first. I had a few allies, a few sponsors, but one of which I will say, a male ally. I was working on a project, and I said, I have this really interesting idea. It's going to kind of take off. And he actually gave me funding for it. He gave me funding for the project. He gave me sponsorship for it. And so that was kind of real support. But here's what the support looked like. The support came from me coming to the table with a clear idea in terms of what I was going on, the benefit to the firm, the benefit to him, why I was the most important, most qualified person to do it, and here was the end result. And then I came with that. We had the discussion, had the follow-up with it, but he gave me the shot, and I will kind of forever be indebted. And you know what, that's really interesting, because when we were speaking, Kathy and Ginger, we were highlighting that for part of this discussion as women, we cannot have it amongst ourselves only anymore. We need really not only allies to be a part of the discussion, because they have different access and we need them to move the needle. So I'm indebted to him, and I am think it's great for all males that support women.
Yep. No, that's great. And I have an interesting one. When I moved into the consulting industry, one of my very first projects was with one of the very senior partners. And it was a rough one. He was not afraid to tell me where I made a mistake. He was not afraid to tell me that I had to go back and redo it. And he really taught me that you can always get better, and that it is okay to be very direct with people, that learning and teaching is as important as acquiescing. And I think that was really helpful, and it really made me understand even more this concept of being in a workforce and gaining experience and knowledge, even when there's a lot of discomfort. And I think particularly for females in the corporate world, there is very often discomfort.
Right. I could tell a lot of stories on this one. One was when you just said a man who was honest with you. When I took a job in Dallas in the early 80s and they were dressing like the show Dallas,
Mm.
one-on-one with him, he said, Kathy, you have to dress better. Not in Western Pennsylvania anymore. Here's a more serious question, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to have you answer it, Ginger. It's from Dorsha. And it's how to access your security services that you mentioned.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, thanks, Rorsha. So what I would say is anyone who's interested in accessing the cybersecurity assets, go on to our website called the Main Street Resource Center. So you can just Google the Main Street Resource Center by Mastercard. And on that, you will see a link in order to obtain those services from our partner Generale. And it's very easy to enroll. And I highly endorse it. It is a fantastic service, free through the end of the year. And I will implore to everyone, don't feel safe all the time. The bad actors are getting worse. The cyber attacks are getting worse. And they are coming after small businesses. So thanks for asking. And again, it's the Main Street Resource Center.
Absolutely.
We're going to run out of time. I asked Ginger and Zoe, I said, Tech Up for Women, we're known for quick, fast answers. We packed a whole lot into this 30 minutes. It's amazing. And we got questions. So we thank our audience. But I want to wrap up by saying 1 minute each on any last thoughts as we've discussed this together.
Well, I'll take a crack at it. This is a tough time for all of us. It's a tough time for our country. It's a tough time for small business. But small businesses are that just because of who they are. It is a group filled with tenacity and focus, perseverance. And I will tell you that I have met thousands and thousands of small businesses, and if anyone can get through this, you can. But know that companies like Mastercard and KPMG are there for you, and never, ever be afraid to ask for help. And I wish everyone good luck as they get through this craziness and out on the other side better.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Back to normal. We want to go.
Yes. I'll also close by saying there's opportunity in crisis if you are paying attention and looking for it, and how your business looked prior to this. It will not look the same, but that's okay. It's not necessarily like a bad thing. Look for the new opportunity, look for additional resources. Ginger and I highlighted some great tools. KPMG, we're always happy to help entrepreneurs find hidden money. So if you want to find hidden money, reach out to me. And then reach out to me also if you just want to talk. We have a network. Ginger and I have a network, in terms of people that may be looking for how our companies can help your businesses get stronger. But don't stay siloed. Reach out and speak about what you need, and we are happy to help. I'm so happy to help.
Great. I think that's great advice for any of our audience that have side gigs, any that have startups that they're thinking about, any that are long-term small business owners or short-term small business owners. This has been really, really energetic and helpful and a lot packed in. So I thank each of you. And for Tech Up for Women, we're doing these tech talks almost every week. The next one will be next Tuesday with Sylvia Ewing from Pfizer on healthcare technology during this time. And also this will be recorded. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you pass it along to your network. So thanks to everybody who participated today. Thank you.
And thank you, Kathy.
Yes.
Good moderation.
Yes.